Mm, 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 mm. Hey, yes. Look, so I like had half of a song and then the song switched and then, you know, that was that. All right. So welcome to another episode of Day to Day with Dorothy. You know, I always like to start with a little chitter chat, while we wait for people to jump in, give them a chance, a chance, a chance, a chance. Let's see, Coach Lisa, shoulder roll. Hey, hey, hey. You know how I like to get all close. Hey, dancer. So look, during chitter chat, I always try to think of things that I want to talk about. And then, of course, I get on here and like all of it falls out of my head. But one thing that I was thinking of is I remember when I bought this dress, and you know how sometimes you're at the store shopping, or maybe you aren't sure if you want to shop, you only want to shop if you see something that really calls to you. But then, and maybe you have a price in mind, right? You've got a price in your head, and then you look at the tag and think to yourself, dang, that's just, I didn't want to spend that much money. But then you say, you know what, let me just go ahead and try it on. It's probably not going to fit right. And then you try the dress on, or whatever it is, the jumpsuit, whatever. You put it on, and then you see yourself in that three-paneled mirror, and you say, self, okay, self, I see you looking so fine. And then you break down and buy it. That's how I feel about this dress. I thoroughly enjoy it. And while you can't see the whole dress, let's see, what can we do? I feel like you can see it a little bit better on IG, but on FB, all you see is the cold shoulder. So yeah, this is what this dress looks like, and then it has like a nice little cute split in the front. Yes, but it's not doing too much because when I was at my corporate gig, I wore it to work. I'm lying. I've worn it to opportunities, like where I was working. But by the time I bought this dress, I was already full time. But no, I've worn it to professional settings. I don't know why I thought that I already had this dress and I did not. But, just a little bit of backstory about L dress. And then, of course, my magnetic lashes and I are here, as well as this day three hair. I think it's day three. Here we are. All right, so let's see who we have, what the comments are. Let me put on these spectacles, right, so that I'm not all up in your grill. Okay. Ooh, fabulous today. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Oh, I'm glad you like the dress. Yes. Tamara or Tamra. Tamara, thanks for hopping on. Immortal Minds, thank you so much for joining. And I got Coach Lisa over here on FB jacking up, just thoroughly tickled. Yes, that's what I'm here for. That is what I'm here for. Hi, Outspoken Wifey, thanks for joining. Yes, I was just talking about, the journey that we ladies go on sometimes when we are trying to convince ourselves and make game time decisions about to buy or not to buy, to engage in the retail therapy or not engage in the retail therapy. Because I was explaining this backstory about the dress. But you know what I need to start doing? So, 7 out of 10 times I have notes. The other 3 times I am absolutely freestyling. But, when I have my notes, I think what I may start doing is writing like chitter chat topics, right? And it's like Dorothy's chitter chat as I wait for the peeps to join in so that you don't feel like you're missing anything. And then so that all my chitter chat ideas don't just fall out of my brain. So, anyway, nevertheless, she persisted. So, I've got a great topic today. Let me go ahead and pin it on IG because I listen. If there's a high tech way to do it in advance, I I don't know how to do it. So today's topic is about comfort zones. So I was gonna call it comfort zones are for suckers, but then I thought if someone gets offended, like I love my comfort zones. F you. So it's like maybe I can't call it that. So the original thought was comfort zones are for suckers, But then now I'm just saying comfort zones suck. That feels like less attacky, right? Do we like the title? Comfort zones suck versus comfort zones are for suckers. But I feel like that one is just so much more catchy, so much more punchy. Listen, when I'm talking with my writing clients, right, I always say, like, there has to be punch. If there's no punch, people aren't going to keep reading. And I would imagine the same would apply with these titles that we pick for our, our lives and our videos and things like that. There's got to be a little bit of punch to make people want to listen, to make people want to click. I think it's called like clickbait. Yesterday's topic was quit like a pro, and I'm like, yeah, that's catchy. Thank you, Jesus, for the titling. Okay, so today's topic is about comfort zones, and weaving into that, my goal in picking this topic was really to have the opportunity to explain who the plug was designed for, right? Because folks have been seeing it on my on my page, on my personal page, on my business page, and then I know, because I do the same thing, who is this for, right? I see things like I signed up for a free conference today, and it's like building your business online. I'm like, that's perfect for me. If you tuned in a couple days ago, you know that the goal big or go home is moving a good portion of my business online, because especially with Rona, you can't just think that everything's going to be in person and face to face. So I saw this opportunity for this conference, and the woman who created Ali K is going to be one of the speakers. So I'm like, ooh, this is exciting because I really like her and I love her products and my hair loves her products too. So I'm trying to figure out, like, who's this for? Is this for me? Should I sign up? Should I allocate the time to participate? And I think people would be asking the same questions about any product or service that I would put together. Is this for me? And if it's not for me, who's it for? It's just kind of what we do, right? This wasn't for me, but I know you like X. Go ahead and check it out. All right, so that was the rationale with today's topic around comfort zones and the idea that comfort zones suck or comfort zones are for suckers. And with some of these things that I curated, it's talking to me just as much as I'm talking to you. Like it's a chat together, not me telling you this is how it goes down. This is how it goes down. It's not even like that. Listen, I always want to be walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Like I really want, one of my goals is to always really sit and embody whatever it is that I'm saying. Otherwise, right? What's the point? How can you say it? So, a lot of times, as I continue on my leadership journey, these are often things that I'm also working on, also pushing through, also journeying along the path with, and or things that I have navigated in the past where I'm like, dang, I wish somebody would have told me. So, what some of you may know or may not know is I'm part of the Forbes Coaches Council, which for me is a big deal. And sometimes I probably don't talk about it enough, let alone talk about it at all. And that's probably why I'm still pinching myself at the idea that I'm even a part of Forbes and Forbes Coaches Council, and that my thoughts and ideas get have an opportunity to live in that space and get featured and participate in these expert panels and things like that. And if you've been following along, I just wrote an article for Training Industry Magazine, which is a huge publication in the training and leadership development world, right? And the reason why that opportunity came along for me to pitch some ideas to them is because they saw me in Forbes and they reached out saying, we really liked your responses in the last expert panel. How about you write for us? And I'm like, oh, really? Me? Okay, great. Yes. So when I was perusing Forbes today, because they tagged me in something that I had written for them, it just reminded me again, like, audacity, she's in Forbes, yes. And I saw something around comfort zones, and I thought to myself, it would be great to talk about comfort zones as I was thinking about this idea around who the plug is for, right? So I knew I was going to talk about who it's for, but the idea that I could tie it into comfort zones, even if you've already got your copy or you sent it to a friend or you're already remarkable and you're like, I've got it under control, I don't need it. But then we could still have a chitter chat about comfort zones. So let's jump in. Who am I? Especially if I've just slipped into your feed because one of your friends sent this over. I'm Dorothy Enriquez. I'm the principal and founder of The Communication Strategist, which is a boutique learning and leadership development firm where I help ordinary people become remarkable leaders. Ordinary people like me and you become remarkable, empowering us with the skills, right, and the capabilities and the competence to really show up powerfully in all the things that we are called to do. Because here's the deal, we're all leaders and we are required to lead from every seat we sit in. The question then becomes, how effective are we? And that's where it comes in handy to have a coach. I can help. And if you are thinking, dang, I don't want a coach right now, or I don't need a coach right now, that's when you get supplemental materials to help you along the journey. Supplemental materials like the plug. Okay? And if you're like, what is it? Et voilà, le plug. It is an ebook that is designed as a self-paced learning guide to really help you step away from ordinary towards remarkable in your leadership and how you show up on a day-to-day basis. And it's designed to really help you take that introspective look that a lot of times we just don't have time to do, and to do it in a self-paced way. All right, so let's see. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so the plug is really for the one who is willing to step out of her comfort zone. Or his, right? One person who bought the plug texted me, or not texted me, DM'd me and said, I just switched out the sis for bro. And I was like, I like your style, friend. So the plug is really for the one who's willing to step out of her comfort zone. Because let me tell you, the way that we show up at work every day, even if there's something inside of us that says, oh, I should, maybe if I could just, I know that I need to, but we don't, because we get comfortable. It's like something that we can really just sit in and sink our booty into, like, yes, this chair feels so good. It looks crazy, but I'm not going to get rid of it and I'm not going to sell it because it feels so good. It's like this chair wraps its arms around me and gives me a loving hug. And I feel that like that's how our comfort zones are. The comfort just wraps its arms around us and gives us a hug. Kind of like comfort food. It wraps its arms around our thighs and our midsection and gives us a hug. And then never wants to let go. Yeah. So comfort zones suck. And sometimes our comfort zones are the very things sucking the life right out of us. And with the plug, I want folks to be able to step outside of their comfort zone. Because when you become the plug, the remarkable leader everyone wants to know, there are 3 huge benefits, like right out the gate. Right? 1, you increase your understanding of the leadership styles. Most of us don't study leadership out the gate, right? And we don't take leadership classes. Sometimes our companies and organizations don't even offer it. So how can we get that exposure? But by having an understanding of the leadership styles, we can properly apply each one to the front lines of our organization. Because remember, even if we don't have the title, we're still a leader. Leadership is influence, right? And so we're all in a position of leadership. So that's the first benefit, right? Increasing your understanding of the leadership styles so that you can properly apply each one on the front lines of the organization, because that's where many of us live, right on the front lines. And how can we be impactful? How can we show up powerfully? How can we not be ordinary and be remarkable? The second benefit is you now have the ability to achieve your goals with greater insight, right? To specific leadership elements. Because here's the thing. I know if you're watching this, you're a goal-getter, you're ambitious, you're competent. But imagine if you could have that extra oomph of insight with how you do things. Because here's the deal, at the end of the day, if you're watching this, it's because you want to make more money, you want to get the plum projects, you want to get the promotion, you want to be able to build and curate a career that you can be proud of, and one that allows you to live the life that you're dreaming of, right? Leadership underpins all of that. Underneath that sits leadership like a bed of lettuce sitting on the chicken, right? And or sitting under the chicken with all the fixings and just kind of holding it all together nicely. Underneath all of that, I want to make more money. I want the plum projects. I want the promotion. I want this. I want that. And I need to be able to be myself while I do it. Under that sits leadership. That's why I created the plug. And the last benefit is that it helps you overcome challenges and setbacks by leveraging your leadership skills. Because here's what's true. We've all faced challenges, we've all faced setbacks, and we've all figured out a way to cobble things together and navigate through, whether it was really, really painful or fairly painless. But imagine if you could use your new leadership skills to help you navigate challenges and setbacks. We know that they're going to come with a little bit more grace and a little bit more strategy. Who wouldn't want to do that? Because when we think about the big picture, we want to do work that we love on a daily basis. We want to make good money for doing it, and we don't want to kill ourselves in the process or kill our spirit, right? So that means we can't be ordinary, because when we're ordinary, that's precisely what's going to happen. We're going to kill ourselves while we're trying to kill it at work, right? Let's not do that. Let's become the plug, the remarkable leader everyone wants to know. So that is what led me to do a little bit of digging around this idea of comfort zones and looking to other Forbes coaches to see what everyone had to say, and including myself, because I've definitely talked to folks that I've coached in the past around this idea of just being a little too comfortable, right? And that nothing good comes from comfort zones. So, number one, if we're going to step away from being too comfortable, we need to focus on incremental change, aka baby steps. Yes? Yes, because sometimes we wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to do spring cleaning, and I'm going to clean my entire house from top to bottom. But that's depending on how big your house is, depending on how much stuff you have and how much junk is in it, that could be a massive undertaking, right? So to say I'm going to clean it from top to bottom today and do all the spring cleaning and all the deep cleaning, and then when you don't get it done, now you're beating yourself up and having all of this negative self-talk. Instead, baby steps, right? And in the spirit of organizing and sparking joy, perhaps you start with the garage, and then you allocate the day to the garage and tell yourself, this is how I'm going to begin to organize. This is how I'm going to begin to spark joy. And, when I'm watching that show Tidy Up, I'm like, she always starts with the garage, right? So baby steps for the incremental change can be a big help in helping us, move forward. Because here's the deal. Until we do step one, step 2 and 3 are a distraction, right? Even when we're planning our day and we've got our big rocks. So as I've shared in like previous lives, I usually commit to 2 or 3 big ticket items a day. Why? Because I'm a single parent and I have a baby, and she's 1. So for me to have the to-do list that I used to have when she was going to school, I was running myself ragged and then just getting very, very frustrated and then disappointed in myself that I couldn't get everything done. But until I do the first thing, everything else is a distraction. Yes? Baby steps so that at least you can say that you got this done. Versus, I cleaned a little bit in the garage, I cleaned a little bit in the living room, I cleaned a little bit in my office, but nothing actually got clean. And so it looks like I did nothing. Baby steps. Focus on incremental change, right? And avoiding the distraction. Sometimes we are the distraction. Sometimes the distraction is external. But how can we avoid the distraction and dig in? But the worst when we're trying to focus on incremental change is these internal distractions, right? How do we get out of our own way? And that's the question where we need to look in the mirror and say, okay, sis, how do I get out of my own way, right? What's holding me back? And we'll talk a little bit about that in recommendation number 3. But recommendation number 1, focus on incremental change. Instead of like going balls to the wall, right? Baby steps. How can I do this one step at a time in order to see a marked difference by the end of all of it, whatever it is that I'm working towards, right? And in this case, it's going from ordinary to remarkable. So, number 2, I should, air quotes, ain't strong enough. I should be a better leader. I should be a better spouse. I should be a better sister. I should be a better friend. That's not strong enough to lull you to sleep at night and wake you up in the morning to get you jazzed up, to bust a move, hold yourself accountable, and take some serious action. So when we're setting goals, especially goals around stepping away from what's comfortable and away from what we know, I should ties into this idea of a good idea goal. It's a good idea to clean. It's a good idea to organize and be neater. These are good ideas, but unless it really ties into something bigger for you, it's not going to be compelling. Like, yes, I should clean my office more often. I don't even want to show y'all my office. Look, I got this backdrop all nice and neat for y'all. You don't need to see what's happening in the background, but I should clean it more. But that doesn't tie into something bigger for me. But when I started, organizing my home a little bit more at the top of the year, because that was on my list, like of what Dorothy wants to focus on in 2020. And as I started organizing different parts of my house, I'm like, and I already knew this about myself. I can think better when things are tidy. It's just sometimes I'm moving so fast that things start to look crazy. But I should just isn't strong enough, right? It has to tie into the bigger picture for us, and it has to tie in with what I call this ultimate hand over heart desire. Hand over heart. If I can get this office to not look so crazy, I'll be in here way more than just to do my live. I'm not living in this office as much as I'd like to because it looks crazy, which is why I've made it a priority to get it together. But listen, I went full time in 2018, and then by the beginning of 2019, my office was crazy. And then I have not really cleaned it up since. I've just shuffled the piles, just shuffled them around, right? But this year, it's not a good idea goal. It is now an important priority for me, which is why, each week it gets a little neater and a little neater and a little neater, and I still have a ways to go. So I should ain't strong enough. And last but not least, the obstacle is the way. So we have to explore our feelings, examine them, and see what they're trying to tell us. And again, this goes back to like the hand over heart deal, right? What's really holding me back? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves, because comfort zones are just that. They're comfortable, right? They hug us like that familiar couch. They hug us, like that ratty blanket we've been carrying around since college. They hug us like our favorite shirt that's hanging on like a thread. They hug us, like that comfort food, when we're having a difficult time. But what's really holding us back? What are we really scared of? And doing some digging, hand over heart, heart that I love. Tell me what's holding me back, and then waiting for the answer. Because the answer may surprise you. The beautiful thing that I have learned, though, whether you're talking to your heart or you're talking to your intuition or you're talking to God, right? The course correction, it corrects you without beating you over the head, because it's not It's not like us humans where sometimes we just can't get our poop in a group, right? It is this moving and shifting of thought that allows you to be free. And so sometimes we're scared to face the thing, but really facing the thing is the way that we become free. The obstacle is the way, right? So when we do this hand over heart deal, right? Like what was holding me back? We can then ask ourselves some questions like, is it true? What's really, really true? And how do I know? This gives us an opportunity to acknowledge our feelings without conceding to them as facts. So I'll give you a quick example and then I will jump out of here. Quick example, when I quit my business for the first time, I did not do this work, right? And what I realized, I was spinning my wheels. It felt like a positive spin, but I wasn't engaging in the money generating activities. And so I quit this job that I had. It was a great job. And I had just gotten a promotion. I was making the most money I had ever made. Quit the job. My business partner and I moved to another part of the state to pursue this business full time and just go like gung ho. We're going to do this. It's going to be epic. And then we're spinning our wheels. And I, as the leader, can't really steer the ship with tight enough vision because I've got these blocks. And I had these money blocks that I was not aware of. Okay? And underneath the money blocks was the idea that people who make a ton of money aren't humble. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why I felt that. I don't know why that was bubbling on low somewhere in here. But if we have this block that we don't know about, because I didn't figure that out until after it all crumbled. And I had to, end up getting a job, right? Because I had to move away, move in with my parents. I mean, long story. So I didn't know that I had these blocks. I didn't even ask my heart, right? Like, what's in the way? What do I need to move out of the way? And I had like this deep concern deep in here that when I make it, I would forget who I was, or I wouldn't be humble, or I would not be kind. And what I've since learned is that, as we face things and as we face adversity and challenges, okay, now y'all get to see my office. Jesus. Well, Facebook didn't get to see it, Instagram did. As I'm like trying to wave. Hey, Just DC. So, what I realized was that I was having this challenge around, will I still be me when I make it? Will I still be me? Will I still be humble? Will I still be kind? Will I still know who I am, even though I've made it and I've accomplished the unthinkable, right? And I didn't realize that these things were percolating and bubbling underneath the surface. And when I tell you, it absolutely got in the way for me to be able to make strategic decisions around money generating activities and really figuring out how to make a dollar during that season. It absolutely 10,000% got in the way. And so I told myself, if and when the opportunity presents itself for me to go into business full time, I'm going to do this work in advance because I don't want things simmering underneath to get in the way, right? That's why I always talk about this idea of skimming stuff right off the top so that we could really see what's underneath, because what's underneath all of the shim sham is power. What's underneath all of the nonsense is the real us, right? And so that's why we have to do this hand over heart, exploring these feelings, knowing that the obstacle is the way, right? That's how we're going to set ourselves free. That's how we're going to break out of these comfort zones, because we can think of comfort zones like prison bars, right? And it's this straight line of prison bars so that we can hold on to them like this. And sometimes it's comfortable to be able to hold on to something. But what we then have to realize is that there's nothing to, our right and there's nothing to our left. We can just walk on out of there, right? And that's why we don't have to live in these comfort zones. we can do these steps. Step 1, focusing on the incremental changes. Step 2, knowing, really knowing that we know that I should ain't strong enough, right? It has to tie to something bigger. And then really figuring out how can we download it into our spirit and get it ingrained in here that the obstacle is really the way, right? The obstacle is the way, and that we have to identify the feelings and not acknowledge them as facts, but still acknowledge them because our feelings are real, right? These are our feelings. Let's acknowledge them, but let's not concede to them like they are fact and they are the end all be all. Okay? So, this has been another episode of Day to Day with Dorothy, and I'm your host and personal change agent, Dorothy Enriquez. Did you like this video? Did you enjoy it? Did you have a couple nuggets where you said, you know what? That's where it's at? If you did, go ahead and share this video with a friend. Shoulder rolls in advance for everyone who decides to share. And if you are technologically challenged like I can be at times, you can take a picture and send it. Here, I'll pose for you and I'll tell you how this could work. Yes? So you take a picture on Facebook or Instagram and then you forward it to a friend. Hey, look, I saw this girl. She was talking about how comfort zones are for suckers. And it was really good. She had some good tips. I think you would like it. I know you're really working on your leadership. And she's got this great ebook. You should invest. In fact, I bought it for you. Yes, that's what we do as mentors. That's what we do as leaders. We lead for the front and we let folks know, like, yes, it's time for you to develop. Why wait for outside to open back up when now is the ideal time? Because when outside opens back up, we are going to be busy, busy, busy. And then self-development goes out the window again. So now is the perfect time to invest in who we want to become as leaders and start becoming that leader today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for next year. Today is the day. So thank you all for tuning in. If you are on Instagram or Facebook, please click the link and sign up for my free Corporate Hustlers newsletter. Never miss an opportunity to transform. Come and join other women in the council so that we can talk all things corporate, right? And not just surviving like I did, but thriving. We got this, right? I know it's been crazy, but this is our year. So let's do this. Let's band together and make some serious magic. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's see, who else did we? Ooh, Opulent Mind Shift. Hey. Thank you all for tuning in on Facebook, Camera 1, and Instagram, Camera 2. Shoulder rolls for all of you. And I hope that there's been at least one nugget in here that has just been like, yes, I needed to hear that today. And if you have not gotten your copy of The Plug, tisk, 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 go ahead and get your copy today. Already remarkable? Gift it to somebody that you're mentoring. They will thank you later. All right, until tomorrow when the little bun is sleeping, I'll be back. See you soon. All right, Facebook, you always know you get the last shoulder roll. You always know you get the last shoulder roll. Now you get more than a shoulder roll. All right, until tomorrow. Bye.